Hello, my name is George Nemphis. I'm the managing member of Nemphis Brow LLC, a mid-Atlantic boutique that specializes in corporate business and transactional law. And today I have the honor of being able to talk with a good friend of our firm, Bill Albright, founder, creator, president, and CEO of Healthibod. Bill is a multi-entrepreneur. This is not his first go-around. And he's had the passion for building companies, surrounding himself by talented people that are all focused on one goal, providing something new, innovative, and in this case, incredibly helpful to the public. Bill, thanks for joining me today.
George, it's great to be here.
Tell everyone, what's Healthibod all about?
Well, Healthibod is a platform that focuses on the diet and nutrition and wellness space. And it's quite a large space when you look at it. Our goal is to help people proactively get the information, get the tools, get the content that will help them improve their health, wellness, and quality of life. And that's quite a lot for just a short explanation.
It's a deep need within the public, as we all know, and digital health applications, software, and other, if you will, pushes that we all need today have become instrumental in, healthcare and wellness. Tell us a little bit about how you decided to get into this and decided to build this and what gave rise to the endeavor.
Right. The first idea to get into this, the genesis of it was actually quite a few years ago. It was back in 2013. And my wife, who's unfortunately deceased, she came up with an idea to have a blog and a website where people would communicate ideas on healthy nutrition, diet, exercise, and be able to track their progress with each other and basically take kind of a do-it-yourself approach as opposed to going out there and just, doing it on your own without any feedback. That was the original idea. She came up with the name after looking at various trademark searches of Healthibod, and she told me about the idea. So in late 2013, we trademarked that name and also got the domain name. This idea was essentially put on hold by me because she unexpectedly passed away later that year, and I did not resurrect working on the project and the venture again until late 2016, 2017. At that point in time, of course, the landscape had evolved quite a bit. And so what we did is we really refined what the business model would be. And then I got in touch with people that I had developed different platforms with and started creating Healthibod up to where it is today.
You and your wife identified problem and need in the marketplace and thought about a solution that could fulfill a need, which, frankly, was what every good entrepreneur starts with. And your journey over these past few years has now kind of taken you to a point where now you're launching. Identifying the problem, identifying the need, and then coming up with a solution is only one piece of the puzzle, right?
Exactly.
I know we've had several conversations, and so how have you thought through and moved the project forward into developing the actual application and software, which would enable individuals to really utilize it, but it pushes them and moves forward? I know that you've spent a lot of time and energy on how do you create something that actually gets people up off their butts.
Right. It's interesting because it's actually a universal need, as we all know. So the way that we really came up with what we're doing and what the company is taking a step back and looking at where people have the hardest time. And having the hardest time on improving one's health is really finding out what the best solutions are, getting started, and then sticking with it. And part of the big issue here is that there's just so much information out there. It's so fragmented, and there's always some brand new fad, some brand new solution, which people might sink their teeth into for a while. It could be something as simple as the Atkins diet, the keto diet, you name it. And then people get started with that. And then, ultimately, because it is not a balanced solution, they will fall on, they'll fall off, and they'll get frustrated. So what we want to do is to basically organize that big universe of very, very fragmented, very confusing information, put some organization to it, have a platform where the options are available there, and have also the content and the ability to communicate with other users all on one platform. Simultaneous to that, George, is also have something that is useful for providers in the space. And it can be large providers that are already out there and well-known, who, a small yoga studio or someone who is a nutritionist. Go out there and give them a platform where they have users that are looking for what they're doing and have a very robust set of settings so that people can kind of basically filter out what they don't want and focus on what they do want.
So basically the concept in a nutshell is, as you would put it, probably a gateway to wellness. Here's the various pieces that are at your disposal, column A, column B, column C, and you work, and the individual is able to work within the platform to figure out if do they want a little from column A, a little from column B, and then you have column C, and then you're able to help drive information to them. Is that the thought that you're thinking?
Precisely. What we're doing is we're organizing it for them, and then they then make their choices. I think, and maybe I am, maybe it's just me or people who think like me, but I don't think so. I think one of the most frustrating things about the online experience today is the fact that whenever you go anywhere, you feel like you're getting stalked. So rather than you going out there and choosing your areas of interest and the solutions that you're interested in, you can do all of that, but at the same point in time, while you're trying to find something, you're getting hit with multiple choices, which have no bearing on what you really want. So our basically our method on our site and our mobile app is to filter out all of that and let the user be in control. We want a user-controlled experience so that people can really find the solutions they're looking for, and that will hence help them stick with it.
So you mean user-controlled is the idea that you found a way to amalgamate all this information and potential, and the user is able to go through and sort of survey it and pick and come up with some parameters of what it's looking for, and then the application will push the information to them? Or is it a combination of, no, I'm going to go in, Healthibod begins out like an encyclopedia of what could be done, I pick and choose, and then it starts to load up with only that. Talk to us a little bit about, I'm just getting on with the app, where do I go from there?
Right. We put it together. Organization is the key. It's what you have in those categories and how you place them, and then let the user then choose from there. So it doesn't have to be extremely complicated. It can be very straightforward. And clearly, as we continue to enhance and build the platform, there will be more and more information in there. And so it is up to us to continue to increase the robustness of our settings to make sure that, people get to where they want to go quickly, but we're not leading them in the wrong direction. One of the things that I noted recently, and I don't know if you did or not, George, but for example, Amazon on their commerce portion of any product you're looking for, you would think that they're most highly, the top of their system there would be the best ratings and so forth. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just right back there. Who is going to pay for that placement? And that wasn't always the case. So you want to have some of that. Certainly you want to, enhance the profitability of whatever platform you're using. But when it comes down to health and wellness, you're treading on a fine line there. Okay, you want to go out there and have the user in control of what he or she is looking for, and then give them the choices there. Don't stalk them, but build it as large as it can be.
So will the solution only be available through your system to the consumer, or will you work with, by way of example, insurance providers, potentially hospitals, or even businesses to provide, individualized kind of for its employees? Will it be something that's merely a B2C, or is it your thoughts that, as you move forward, you're going to try to create more of a community within and around Healthibod?
Definitely, we will. We want to ally ourselves very, very deeply with the insurance providers and with employers, and also with nonprofits and associations that are in the space there. To give you an example, I would imagine that on our best way of aligning ourselves with the insurance providers would be to be a benefit that would be part of their offerings to their policyholders. So, for example, if you go on to a United Health, an Aetna, a Care First, and so forth, there's a number of different products and services that are offered within the policy. And one of the things that we do offer on the B2C side is support. For example, if someone decides that they want to go onto a diet, or they want to have certain wellness solutions out there, we have those providers that are listed there, and there is a cost to that. If someone wants to have contact, for example, once a week, it'll be at a certain level, 3 times a week, at a higher level, and 5 times a week at an even higher level there. So what I would envision the insurance partners that we would be able to have that either provided within the policy or at a discount. So that would be one example of that. Same thing with benefit managers for businesses. I could definitely see that. There's a lot of large employers, as we know, that will give benefits for fitness. It could be whether it would be a Pure Bar or any of the other fitness choices that are out there. That's be part of the employee benefit program. So we definitely want to be included on that side of life.
Anybody doing anything similar to this? Is there anything out there that you would look at and go, we're just like them? Or is it going to be more of they can come and be with us?
Well, there's a lot of solutions that are out there. And one of our biggest missions is to, even though there's a lot of so-called competitors out there, because it's a big space and everyone is always going to be aspiring to feel better, look better, and so forth. And it's a great aspiration. There's a lot of solution providers out there. We want to be an ally to all of them. So if someone is in the space, I want Healthibod to then have links and connectivity to that so that the user knows that that's a solution. And if we do our work correctly, then we want to have some type of a relationship, whether it be an advertising relationship, a revenue share, or something along those lines, which then fits into our business model, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later in this interview.
So with that in mind, is it your thought that you will utilize potentially those relationships to provide the content, Or will you go out and seek the content, create it yourself, and then utilize that to attract those other solutions to come in to backfill in where the content is?
Great question. There's so much content out there, George, that our first thought is to go out there and offer that content, link up that content, and organize it for our users. I could see somewhere down the road that we may do our own content, but that is not something that we're looking at today because there's so much out there that we would like to add in to the Healthibod platform.
Great. So you mentioned your business model. And with any company getting started, as we kind of circle back to the beginning of our conversation, identifying the problem, the need, and then focusing on how to solve it, that's great, but there may not be a true fit, sound business model around it, because not every problem can result in a business. So talk to us a little bit about the business model that you are now starting to work towards and work with as you take this problem, this need in a tough field. I mean, you've said there's a lot out there in the field. What is going to differentiate you all, and how will your business model leverage that and moving it forward?
Well, one of the first things that a Healthibod user will notice is we have a section that's front and center called Make a Plan. And in that Make a Plan area, we're inviting the users to go on to just a handful of selected apps. It could be like MyFitnessPal on the fitness side. It could be Fujicate on the food and nutrition side, and so forth. So from those, we're basically leading people to go in for free, to go out there, take a look at these things, and help themselves get, more fit, healthier, and feel better. Most people, or a lot of people, are going to want to get some help. So we have just below that, need some assistance, need some help to stay on track. And that's where we partner up with providers that are out there, and adding people that we would want to have on the Healthibod team that then get in touch on a confidential platform with users and ask them at regular intervals, how is it going? And getting feedback from the user as to what their goals are, what their challenges have been, and what tips they're asking for. So on this solution side of life, that's a subscription. So that fits right into your question there of the business model. That's a subscription for customer support. And it's very interesting because also if we have outside providers that are providing that, we do a revenue share, so it becomes a gig platform for them. They're utilizing their spare time working with clients that we're bringing in. But that's subscription revenue that's either completely on our side that we're keeping for people that are employed by us, George, or we would be sharing with other providers that are allied with us. So that's that side of life. Another thing that's very simple that a lot of people can easily understand is the advertising component. As we build awareness, whether it's through marketing on the Facebooks of the world, Googles, and so forth, as we build our user base, we become more attractive for people that have services and products that are in the diet, nutrition, and wellness space. So certainly we do want to have advertising. We don't want to have it overbearing, and that will be a real that's kind of a subjective thing, more than objective. What is not overbearing on the ad side versus what is, and I think that we have a good idea of what we don't want to have on there. And again, our goal on our setting side, George, is to have advertisement that's geared towards the user choice. Then we'll invite them to go out there and really, increase the setting choices that they can put in there. Or if they just want to have it open, then they'll be, given more choices on that side. So advertising, subscriptions, and another thing that fits into the advertise, it's kind of almost a hybrid between subscription and pure advertising. And that is what we call our preferred partners program. And George, that's where we have providers that want to have a set, defined cost per month, where they are on a preferred platform where the users can find out what their good or service is, reach out to them, and they get premium exposure on the site through a dedicated section of the site. They also, with that program, they can post unlimited content, and they have the ability to do things such as push promotions to our consumers that are interested in their area, things such as QR coupons and things of that nature. So, that's kind of a hybrid between the subscription model and the pure advertising model.
Sounds like also that there could be a position here where you have private partners, bricks and mortar, the YMCA seeking you guys out to help them with their members and being an added service, and then almost white labeling, healthy YMCA Healthibods or something like that for them. So you can actually have, put yourself in a position to leverage all of this and then even more further privatize it for select groups. If the Sprout comes to you and says, I need to get my employees healthier and making better food choices, or
absolutely,
things like that. So it's the Neptus Brow Healthibod, and you kind of work together, and we curated, you're staying late at the office again, get up and stretch, things like that. So it sounds like that there's a lot of different avenues. So the thought process then is to take what is a very broad field of information and try to put it into a system that enables the end user not to panic and Google until their fingers bleed, and actually be within a safe space, if you will, find what they need, and then have things more readily available to them through that will be more consistent and they'll be able to get access to on a regular basis. That sounds pretty amazing. I mean, talking about team, as you know, and I know you know this from having built businesses, team is everything, especially early on in a company's path. Who's your team made up of right now?
Well, I went to Mike Males, who I have had website experience with in the past. And he also has a keen marketing eye. He's done a lot of sports marketing, and sort of sports and health have a lot of, there's a lot of commonality in that. And went to Mike, told him what I was thinking, and we immediately hit it off and did the first architecture, if you will, of what Healthibod is. And Mike and I have worked continuously on this since 2017. And he's also an equity owner in the business. And we also partnered up on the technology side, the one who would actually do the platform, who would continue making sure that we have adequate server space as we grow, with Bruce Klein and his group. Mike and I also found other partners through his contacts on the social media and digital marketing side of life, and that's Marketplace Velocity. So we've got the inner group of the team already in place, and we have our key service providers out there. One of the things that we're doing now, which every new venture, particularly one as ambitious as this, we're out there, raising capital so that we continue to build this team.
So where are you guys now with this stage of the company? Website up and going, app functional? Where are things?
Both of them. So the website is fully functional, George. The app is available for free on Google Play and the App Store. So the distribution is there. And just to make sure that we weren't, shall we say, self-delusional on what we believe the attraction would be to a user, we did test marketing. and we put a chunk of our own money into one single platform, Facebook, and the results they well exceeded our own expectations. So we got a tremendous amount of registrations, we got app downloads and likes and the whole 9 yards. So that basically validates what we believed would be well received by the public. Terrific.
So, as a serial entrepreneur from your previous business, which was actually in the beverage world, and now into this, what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs and other individuals who have identified a problem and a need, believe they have the solution and the passion for getting it out there, and it's perhaps a solution that helps people? What's the advice that you have for other people looking to jump into this crazy world of entrepreneurship?
Well, I believe, much to the organization of this interview with you, George, is, you have to, first of all, it's very helpful to have an actual affinity towards what you're thinking of getting into. But then you have to go out there and, of course, identify the size of the market, and then do the analysis, find out what is out there and what someone may not be looking at, what they may not be focusing on. And, just sort of going back in years to the beverage business, I cut my teeth on beverage distribution on the beer and wine side. Distribution and warehousing and all that is one thing, but then, on the product side, we wanted to get into at that time, get into something that people weren't focusing on to a great degree, and that was natural and health-based beverages. And in the late 80s and early 90s, things such as the bottled water side of life, the Snapples and Crystalline and Orangina, those were just getting started. They didn't even know where to market. So we were able to round up all these cats and dogs, put them into one house and organize it and have the offering there and give them distribution. So, it's basically going out there and finding a better way of getting the solution to the customer, making it easy for them, and hopefully making it enjoyable as well.
So even your past experience as an entrepreneur and what you were doing, aggregating up the cats and dogs and providing a better experience and a more usable experience, that continues on today into Healthibod. You've taken those items and in those organizational skills and thoughts, and you're now applying it to your new passion.
Exactly, and a lot of people that are out there, and their ambition may be to simply, have the best life coaching practice in their zip code, but they need to go out there and reach people who might be interested in that. So anyone who goes on to Healthibod knows what Healthibod is all about. It's not like, and believe me, I'm not disparaging Google, because Google is most definitely one of our identified service providers. But I don't think people are very interested in doing all the heavy lifting themselves on the organizational side when they know that their choices that are going to come up on Google are simply who is paying them more for that tagline right now. They may want to be able to go out there and find someone who's interested with great content, seems to have a passion that they're interested in, that is in health and wellness. I don't know if people are simply going to gravitate and say, I want to go to Google Health, because it could be Google anything,
Well, not only that, but you actually also, it sounds like, have the capability to more localize the results and the platform for individuals as they're sitting there trying to figure out, well, where do I go for this locally? Or, hey, there's no one locally. I can find somebody who can do something, as you said, a life coach or something like that, and help facilitate that connection.
Exactly. We have, built into the app, a functionality called GeoMaster. So if someone, like you said, wants to find the nearest Tai Chi provider or the nearest yoga provider to them, they can go in there into the GeoMaster and find it.
That's terrific. And that's amazing. So how many pieces in your app would you say are going to make you stand out ahead of everybody? What in your app is going to stand out heads and tails above everybody else that are trying to get into this space?
I think if we continue to execute properly, George, I think when someone goes into our app, first of all, I always like the name of the business to really say what it is. So I think Healthibod is a very useful name on that. And then with the slogans there, your gateway to wellness, your best health anywhere, those things are helpful as well. But I think having it user friendly, I think that's the thing to me that we want to really make sure that we never fall down on, because I just see so many. I myself get, and I'm very adept. I've been doing different ventures on the internet for quite some time. But if something is difficult or breaks down, or it just takes too long to really get what I'm looking for, I'll just go somewhere else.
Right.
So I want to make sure that we stick to that. And frankly, anyone who's in the business, if someone thinks that they can do something similar to us, but they're doing a good job, well, so what? Okay, we'll link them up there, and we'll try and find a way at some point in time to partner with them so that both parties have a mutually beneficial relationship.
Good. Great product, great services, fantastic information, and willingness to be almost open architecture. I mean, what's not to like? Bill, I have to say, I know you well. I know you personally. It's great to see you move forward in your venture and your passion. And I know it means a lot to you beyond being a business and a venture. It's something that you and your wife are very dedicated to. And I, think it's fantastic. And I can't wait to see that the next chapter in the business as it moves forward. I think, there's a tremendous need for it and a tremendous desire to have something that's easy and not complicated in, our lives, especially in this space where everybody wants it. Nobody really wants to do it.
Well, what's very interesting, and my wife Amy, who you've met, okay, interestingly enough, she is very much into the space. She used to be a renowned spinning trainer, and she works for Mayo Clinic now. So she's sort of on that institutional side of health. It's very interesting what Healthibod does versus what some other self-help sites do that are more oriented towards the medical side. Mm-hmm. So if you look at, for example, on sites such as ShareCare, they do a good job, but they are very much married to big pharma. Yeah. Okay. So you'll see that almost all of their solutions are, okay, you feel this way, this is your problem. Here's, a product, a prescription, from X that you ought to ask your doctor about. Whereas what we are is, we're more on the, okay, so that you don't have to go in to the hospital for a procedure 1, 2, 3, and 4, and with recovery time of whatever it might be, we can help you in combination with regular checkups. We can help you help yourself get some solutions that make sense, for you. And not that we're contrary to any of that. We are complementary. We want to have, complementary solutions.
Well, great. Well, Bill, I just want to say thank you for taking the time today to talk to us about your new venture and your new passion, if you will. And as you know, big fan, excited to see this thing and as it moves forward. And I know that Healthibod and everything is not only going to be wildly successful, but it will be wildly helpful. And again, thank you for taking the time today to visit with us and tell us about what's going on and everything.
Well, thanks for the opportunity and enjoyed our time together today.
Always. Thanks, Bill.
You too. Take care.
Take care.